Show. Where we lock and load. Come on. It's the Alabama Show. Where we lock and load. Come on. It's the Alabama Show. Where we lock and load. It's the Alabama Show. Where we lock.
Hello everyone, another Tuesday night. This is the Allen Powell Show live on Rejoice 102.3. We also live YouTube live and Facebook live and D3T TV live. It's a lot of lives, a lot of different ways to hear us. So let me introduce the panel for the evening. To my right, the sportsologist is back. Say something to him, man.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Sportsologist, New Jersey's finest, sports guru, the heart and soul of the East Coast.
Come on.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll stop.
So, look.
Hey, everybody.
That's a sportsologist, man. You know what? I want to play a game today.
Okay, go ahead.
He said he's a sportsologist, sports guru. I want to see, can the listeners stump you? Can they stump you? What questions are they allowed to ask? What type of questions? Can we like NBA, football? What type of questions can we ask so they try to stump you? Any NBA,
football, and baseball going back to 1995.
Back to 1995. So look, y'all ever heard the show Stump the Swab? We're gonna play Stump the Sportsologist.
Won't happen.
Starting Joe Robinson. So I'm going to get these numbers out real quick before I introduce our special guest for the evening. Suburbs, 708-445-9922. Indiana, 219-933-9922. And Chicago, 773-288-9922. We playing Stump the Sportsologist tonight. Didn't know this was happening. This was not in the notes. This is not in the notes.
Indiana, South Suburb of Chicago, bring it.
Please bring it, because he's talking big right now. I like it. Now, let's get to the special guest of the evening. She got a long list of accomplishments and accolades. And so, without further ado, we got Operations Manager for the Stage, Small Business Incubator, and Gretchen Sipp Certified Event Planner, Administrative and Business Consultant, founder of GLS Administrative Concierge and Events. Give it up, everybody, for Gretchen Sipp is in the building. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Are you ready to have some fun tonight?
Yes, I am ready to have some fun. I see there's going to be a lot of laughs.
Yes. So Gretchen Sipp is going to tell us what she got going on, and she's going to debate and give us some hot takes on some sports topics tonight. So without further ado, y'all, let's lock and load. Remember, we're playing Stump the Sportsologist, but we also going to go through our different topics. But anytime you want to call in and challenge the Sportsologist with a question, call in anytime you feel free. So NBA Finals is set. It's set. Toronto Raptors, Golden State Warriors. First of all, how you feel about this finals matchup?
Well, I kind of predicted it from the beginning. I picked Toronto to come out the East.
From the very beginning?
No, well, once the seeding was from the playoffs.
I thought you were saying
from the beginning. No.
You really the sportsologist?
No.
Okay.
From the beginning of the playoffs,
okay.
I didn't pick Golden State, but I definitely picked Toronto, and I definitely didn't pick Golden State for personal reasons. But they're there, Toronto, Kawhi Leonard, and I hope they have a good series. I hope it be a good series.
We're going to get into that series in a minute. We're going to get to our guests. Before I ask you about the finals, and it's okay no matter what your thoughts are. But before we always ask this question to guests that comes into the Allen Powell Show. The number one question we ask guests is, are you a LeBron fan?
Oh, Jesus.
Are you a LeBron fan?
I actually am a LeBron fan.
Thank you.
Well,
you know what, Miss Gretchen? Yes. You can come back to this show. I'm inviting you back to Al's show anytime.
I don't know if I can.
Anytime you want.
I don't know if I can invite you back.
I feel like this woman appreciate good basketball. Being from the Midwest, I appreciate that honesty.
I forgot to tell you to answer that question correctly. I'm sorry.
Send me some notes.
I'm sorry.
You answered it right. You can come back anytime you want. Every Tuesday from 7 to 8. We'll find a spot for you on the panel.
You invited me. Yes.
You got one more question that you can redeem yourself.
Oh man.
If you answer this right, then the door might be back open. If you don't, it's completely closed forever. LeBron or Jordan?
Oh no, that's Jordan hands down.
Okay. Whew.
That's Jordan hands down.
Almost there.
She was 50% right. She was 50% right.
I'm just saying.
I'm happy.
I'm about to say if she.
Unfair question, man.
No, it's
But
not.
you know what? That's an unfair question.
Me, I'm like, you can't compare that. But
All right, thank you. Hey, see, you know what? This woman knows what she's talking about. She's saying you can't compare that.
Let's ask her why you can't compare that.
You know, now I love LeBron. I just don't see him as legend status. Jordan, not yet. Not yet. He's
Okay.
working on it.
Okay.
He's working on it.
I can live with that.
I
I can live
I
with that.
see Jordan is legend status. He is
Yeah.
he's like one of the icons. So that's the way I look at him. So you
Maybe when he in his career, you saying possibly, but I like the way you talking right now. Like you winning yourself back over to possibly coming
She
back.
sounds like she knows what
again.
you're talking about. She's
That's
just
good.
not. She's
Good.
just not just biased or just one of those haters out here that
Are-
is the other one that's sitting in the,
Who?
on the studio panel.
Who?
I mean,
Are you biased? And
no, absolutely not.
you just
Absolutely
said
not.
you didn't pick Golden State at the beginning of the playoffs for personal reasons.
Right.
That sounded a little biased to
But I'm
me.
just being honest though.
Okay, well I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little biased too then.
Yeah. Okay.
You got me.
Okay,
You got me.
Okay. All right.
Jeez.
That's fair.
All right, but-
talk about my shirt and my hat.
Nobody want to talk about your shirt or your hat.
Okay.
This
okay.
brother has some New York gear, and all of a sudden, he bringing New York stuff around. But he the camera right there, man. You got that camera right there. There you go. This is the only time he can bring this New York stuff in, because during the season, you never see it. Because they've been stinking up the joint for a long time.
Yankees in first place, but okay, go ahead.
They are in first place. But I was talking about that Knicks hat.
Okay.
But anyway, do you have any thoughts about the NBA Finals? It is okay if you don't.
not yet. I will say I haven't developed my opinion yet. I am one that stands back and watches for a minute. So
Okay.
I
I
love
haven't-
that approach.
I haven't yet. Now I may text message you be like, look,
Right.
this is
Right.
but not yet.
So maybe we have an updated hot take
Right.
of Gretchen Sip on a later show of the Alan Powell show. All right, but okay, let me go to you real quick. Predictions for the series first.
Well, because I had picked Portland to win that series,
Right.
and they ended up they got swept, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to predict Toronto
Come on, man.
in 6 games.
Because of what? Why? Just to be honest too, man. Be honest. You know you don't have no reason to pick Toronto. You just doing it just because.
I'm picking Toronto in 6.
Come on, man.
Let's just leave it like that. Toronto in 6.
What's your keys to the series? How they gonna pull this off? How?
Bully ball.
Okay.
Physical basketball. They have the size matchup.
Who plays bully ball on that team though?
Well, they're physical, because you have Surge.
Yeah.
What's the gentleman? The one who plays the 3. What's his name?
Siakam.
Siakam.
Okay.
You have Van Vliet coming off the bench. So you got some solid physical players that I think could match up. Kawhi's a physical player.
Yeah.
And I think they'll need to have to out physical them in order to beat them.
I think they would have to have that New York Knicks style to beat them.
Well,
But they don't have that.
That's a
Not in
winning
today's
style.
game.
That's a winning style. The New York Knicks style is a winning style.
I'm-
So if they do
the
adapt
old
that,
Anthony Mason,
if
Charles
they,
Oakley.
if they do adapt that for this series, they absolutely will win. It might even be in 5 instead of 6.
Got you. Any thoughts on predictions? Or I know you said you're gonna wait and see, but because I asked him, I just wanted to ask you. You got any keys to the series? We got Steph and Clay, the light skinned guys, the shooters, the Splash Brothers. If you got any thoughts?
Toronto in 6.
See that's
Golden State in 4. Golden State in 4.
I can't go with Toronto. I'm not there with him on the 6.
Okay, Miss Gretch. I'm
Good
right.
answer.
But I'm I like to make safe bets. I don't do too many. I do a risk assessment, and I
Okay.
can't go with
She is a businesswoman.
Yes.
She is a
That's
businesswoman.
very smart.
So, I want to ask y'all about this though. So, does this being that Toronto is in the finals, does it justify Toronto making that trade now? The DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi, they was taking a risk. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. They took a chance, and they're in the finals now. Is it justified because they made it to the finals now?
Absolutely.
Even if they don't win it?
Even if they don't win it. You know, that backcourt with DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, I think they ran its course.
Right.
You know, they had been together for quite a few years. They kept running into King James, and they just couldn't get over the hump. You know, I think that even with LeBron leaving, going to the West Coast, it opened up to quite a few teams in the East. But definitely, you know, trading for Kawhi, trying to win him over in this season could possibly, you know, if they mess around and win this finals, he might resign, and now you have a whole nother conversation where, yeah, it absolutely was worth it. So absolutely, I think that trading for Kawhi, give him an opportunity to try to win an NBA championship and possibly win him over in free agency, I think it absolutely was a good trade.
That GM is looking like a wizard right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting Gasol in the middle
Gasol,
of the season.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think if they do win it, I definitely think he's gonna resign. But if they lose, I think he's leaving. I think he's leaving to LA.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking.
You think the same way?
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's a really smart decision.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I was like, he's gonna leave if they lose.
Right.
If they lose.
I agree. Absolutely.
What you say? If they win, he's gonna stay? Because I think he can get the Supermax too.
Yeah.
Well, did he make any of the All NBA teams? I know he was out a lot of the games, but I don't have it in front of me.
I don't either. I believe he was second team. I think it was second All NBA team. I believe so.
Got you.
Not for sure. Don't quote me on that one though.
Do you think that Kawhi has a thought in his head like, I told you San Antonio, or that's what you get San Antonio?
Absolutely. You know, he's been a quiet assassin most of his career.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe, you know, with him sitting out, you know, with the injury, and then San Antonio trying to somewhat insinuate that he could have came back, he didn't want to play. It was a lot more pointing the finger. I think he definitely played with an edge on his, you know. And then one thing was they decided they wanted to trade him to the furthest team away from the West Coast. So I definitely think he's playing with an edge on his chip on his shoulder, I should say, a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And yeah. First time you see some emotion with him this year. You know, a lot of times he just kind of go about his business.
Right.
But this year you see some of his personality. You starting to see a
little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit
more than we've seen over the last 7 years.
True.
So definitely, he would love to stick it to him and win a championship up there.
So if everybody don't know what we're talking about, Kawhi Leonard played for the San Antonio Spurs last year, but he really didn't play. He had an injury. The players started coming out making statements like he need to come back, basically, or the injury ain't that bad, and he didn't come back. He didn't feel right. He sat out, and they thought he could have came back. He demanded a trade. So the question is, do you think he feels like, hey, see, y'all should have talked to me right. Don't talk to me crazy. I would have been here for y'all, but now see.
I would have done that. But
what you would have did?
I definitely would have, you know. I mean, I think he does. He is playing with, you know, not necessarily something to prove, but just like, I'm gonna show you what you're missing.
Absolutely.
Like that X.
Yeah.
It got real quiet right there. Now nobody want to touch that. Y'all see how that go? They talking about it. It got real quiet around here. It got crickets. They were like, what is going on? They want to talk about this.
Next topic.
Yeah. So look. If y'all want to call in with predictions for the NBA Finals, or if you want to play Stump the Sportsologist, any questions?
South Suburb, Indiana, Chicago, call in.
If you want to talk, try to Stump the Sportsologist, NBA questions, NFL, and baseball going back
1995.
Suburb 708-445-9922.
Scared.
219-933-9922. Chicago 773-288-9922. He calling y'all scared. He said y'all scared to call in, ask him a question. Hey, just test them out. You can ask sports question.
Yeah, sports question.
Oh, you don't want to? You don't want to call in and ask about like an X question or something?
Rejoice. This is Rejoice Radio.
Hey, Rejoice, have good conversations. I'll be listening to all night, bro.
Sports questions.
Oh, okay. He said sports questions. Hey, I can't control the caller though. If they call in to ask you something else, I can't control that.
Screen the callers.
Hey, man. Look, call in with your playoff predictions and play Stump the Sportsologist. Now, we're going to get to our guest of the evening. Once again, she has a lot of things going on. She got a long list of accomplishments, but Gretchen Sip is in the building. Can you tell the people just a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a native of Gary, Indiana, and born and raised. I get the pleasure of working with a lot of creatives, a lot of artists, visual and performing, as well as a number of artisans, people that do things with their hands, and to me create something from nothing. So to me, those are that it's a difference in being a business owner and being an entrepreneur. And for me, at least, with the people that I work with, entrepreneurs create, and they create something from nothing. They don't walk into something that's already pre-made. So you're actually building a future, and I think that's key. So I look at this as my purpose, one of my purposes.
That's good
Very
stuff.
good. Very
That's
good.
That's good stuff. So before we get into a couple of more questions, you said you're a Gary native.
Yep.
So let's take it back to the sports for a second. Did you play any sports in school, high school, anything?
I did, but okay, I'll say this. Let me preface this. Okay, I did not attend any Gary public schools.
Okay.
My family taught at a lot of Gary public schools.
Okay.
And my daughter attended, but I never attended. I attended private schools.
Okay.
And so I went to Andrean, and I did play powder puff football there.
Okay.
And then the school I attended before then, I played volleyball, basketball, and field hockey.
Wow.
And I was a competitive swimmer. And I know that's hard to believe, but I actually am a certified lifeguard.
Good job.
Oh, you done a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess the follow-up question is, how were you in those sports? What was your best sport? I'll put it like that. What was your best sport?
Well, I can move in water, but that's because water works with me.
Okay. Okay. So that was your standout sport.
Yes. And then field hockey actually was my number two, between field hockey and football, because I could work out my frustrations. So
let me ask you another question. Are you into hockey now? Do you follow hockey?
no,
No?
I do not. No,
Okay, so that was just a childhood.
Yeah, I was told to do it.
Gotcha.
I was told to do it. I actually like tech. My dad bought us one of the first Tandies, but in order for us to use it, we had to put it together. He could only get pieces.
Right.
So I learned how to put my first computer together at 12.
Okay.
Wow.
For us to use it, we had to put it together.
We got some brains on this set today,
yeah.
Jack. Man.
So I was a techie person, and I played piano for 20 years.
Woo-wee. Jeez. Hey.
She busy.
She is. She been busy.
She been
for a long
busy
time.
since the womb. She been busy.
Yeah, she been busy in the womb.
Yeah, in the womb, she been busy.
She been in the womb.
Yeah, she been busy. Yeah, absolutely.
Once again, we got Gretchen Sim hanging out with the Island Pals on Rejoice 102.3.
Hey, y'all, hey.
What is your favorite sport to watch?
Ooh. I will say I enjoy basketball.
Basketball.
I think it's because I couldn't play it. Like, you weren't getting me that far off the ground. So I was, and it's just I didn't work that way. But
Right.
so I think and that's always been my family sport. Like, my family was
basketball.
right, basketball, and of course when the Olympics came around, we were a heavy track family.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I have a lot of family members who compete.
What's your favorite NBA team? I'm glad she
Or
stopped.
was.
Well, of course, the Chicago Bulls.
Good answer.
Of course, Chicago
Good answer.
Bulls.
Well, her hesitation,
Right
I hope she was
now-
going to say somebody else.
What, you was hoping for me to say the Knicks?
Well, no, I mean, not the Knicks, but because you hesitated so long, I'm like, well, maybe she's not going to say the Chicago
Come on,
Bulls.
man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I
You
knew it was
could
coming.
live in my parents' house and not rock with the Bulls. That was voting and the Bulls. That was it.
All right, next question.
Right on, right on. Good answer. You coming on back. Started off rough today, but she coming on back. Slowly but surely. By 8 o'clock, you're gonna be back on board. We're gonna have Gretchen Sip back again. So let's talk about, how did you get in the field that you're in, doing everything that you're doing?
I was actually well, I started. People always came to me for help. It didn't matter what it was for. People always came to me for help. So I started off actually helping handymen who would come to the house, and they would, fix things, but they didn't know how to take their phone calls.
Mm.
They didn't know how to do proposals.
Mhm.
They didn't know how to do those things. So I did it for other companies. I was brought into a number of companies to help them set up their standard of operating procedures. Um, I'm an organizer, and I can look at a process, break it down, and explain it.
Mm.
That's what I do, and I do it with anything. So I just helped them,
Right.
and it began by word of mouth. And honestly, like this is the first time of me actually sort of, in a way, talking about my business this live. I've been busy for at least the last 7 years, and I'm never advertised. And I have a background in marketing and advertising.
Wow.
So,
That speaks volume about your work and
you
know,
so busy.
yeah.
how,
I
how
stay
good she
busy.
is. Also, that speaks volume for how good she is and what
Right.
she does as well.
Thank you.
Right.
You know,
That's
if you
good
wasn't
stuff.
no good, you know, it'd be like, well,
Yeah, yeah.
my phone dead. You know what I mean? And nobody called.
They call me
Right.
the Olivia Pope.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Get things done.
Oh.
And my team, that's what we do. We get things
Things
done.
done.
We are the Girl Fridays behind the scenes to get things done.
It's a good
Okay,
thing that
yeah.
she came in here today.
Absolutely,
Need to get some
absolutely.
stuff done around here, Jack. Once again, Gretchen Sip is hanging out with the Alan Powell Show. So, do you have any being in the field that you've been in? Do you have a funny story that you can tell us to dealing with the field that you're in that you can remember? And if you don't, we can always come back a little later if you get it once you get it together. But
I got one that it's sort of the field.
okay,
Some of the other ones I can't really talk about. So I do work with a number of clients, and some of them do various things or are in various industries.
oh,
Okay.
mine wonders.
So-
Go ahead.
Right. So, but I deal with computers and deal with
Mhm.
tech, and it was a person learning to use the computer, and we were walking through that process, and I was teaching them about the different things on the computer, and they have a desktop,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't quite understand how certain things work. They were a seamstress,
Okay.
and so they took the mouse and put it on the floor, and they use it as a foot pedal to get the computer going. So
Why would they do that?
we had to take a few steps back, and just go through a little bit of more of how the computer works.
They put it on the ground.
They put it on the ground, and they use it as a foot pedal because a sewing machine, you got the foot pedal.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
seamstress. Oh, it got to look
Yeah, I
like
guess it
one.
jeez, jeez.
We did end up having to replace that mouse, but
Ain't-
yeah, eventually they got it. Now they have a laptop, so they don't have to worry about that. So.
You done help them out big time, big time. Once again, we got Gretchen Sip hanging out with the Alan Powell Show, telling us funny stories about people she done dealt with in her field of work. But we're going to get back into these sports topics, and then we're going to get back to Gretchen Sip and ask her some more questions about what she do. I just want to let all the baseball fans know. I know we had a call a few weeks ago, and they called in with some baseball questions. And so if y'all want to talk baseball, I know it's baseball season. I got my baseball gear on, and he got his Yankees shirt over here. So if y'all want to call in and it's a long season, so that's why we kind of wait to the playoffs before we really dig in. But if you want to just talk White Sox, Cubs, Yankees, whatever teams you want to talk about, call on in, and we can have some baseball talks. But we're going to get back to our topics. Chris Long, he just retired. He just came out and said he aims to destigmatize marijuana in football. There's been a lot of talk about how they smoke marijuana for pain purposes,
Pain relief.
And so my question is, should they be allowed to use marijuana in football?
I would say in the off season. I believe that as we see as this country is, as certain states are starting to, more and more states are starting to legalize marijuana.
Mhm.
Obviously, we see that there's a medical use for it. And I think that as we talk about football and the impact on your body, I feel like for those medicinal
Yeah,
reasons, I think that football players, athletes, they should be able, they should be allowed to smoke marijuana in the off season. I don't think that after Sunday, after a game in Week 10,
Right.
Monday and Tuesday. No, I don't think that going through your training during the season you should be allowed to. But in the offseason, I don't think you should be penalized for, the use of marijuana.
So what do you think about his statement about pain purposes? What if he hurting during the season?
Well, I don't think you should be able to test positive during the season and be okay to perform.
Right.
We also know that another effect of marijuana is, kind of slowing down your judgment. It
Right.
slows you down. So playing a sport like football, if you're under the influence or something, I don't think that would be a smart thing to do.
Right.
As far as the football season, So I think that you need to be aware and all senses and stuff like that needs to be on point. So I don't think that I woke up Sunday morning not feeling well. Let me smoke this L.
Right,
I don't
right.
think that's going to be good at 1 o'clock.
Right,
I don't think
right.
that you should. I don't think that's going to be a good idea for you.
Right.
The game is too fast, and you moving real slow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Smoking that
Right.
stuff, man. So I don't think that's a good idea.
I would go to you, Gretchen. What are your thoughts about smoking weed for pain purposes in the NFL?
Well, okay, so is he only talking about smoking or is he talking about edibles?
He didn't. I don't think in the article he didn't mention it. He wanted to. What was he trying to do? He was trying to. It's the bad rap on NFL players smoking marijuana, and he didn't. That stereotype, as the media has it, he was trying to.
Sort of get in front of it.
Yeah, get in front of it, and hey, it's not that bad. It's not what you think.
Right.
These are the reasons why a lot of NFL players are
Right.
doing this. So he wanted to kind of get ahead of it and be the spokesperson in regards to that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. If of course, because it can, it can affect your judgment.
Mhm.
I just know, because of the medical reasons, and because I wonder if there are other things as well, because we do have CBD oil out, which doesn't
Right.
have the THC in it, and then of course edibles are react differently,
Mhm.
but because it does, they take so many impacts on their body, and just from a family standpoint and real life situations, I've seen the effects of when someone takes it medicinally and how it helps their
Right.
symptoms. It helps what they deal with, from
Mm.
people with fibromyalgia to people who have seizures to people who have cancer. And so just I will say I am quite empathetic on it, just because my father did pass
Mm.
of cancer. My
Mhm.
mother, thank God, is cancer free.
Mhm.
But just being in the hospitals and talking to those families,
Mhm.
and then just seeing the impacts, and then even some people who were in sports having seizures after the fact, and now, but this taking CBD or taking edibles controls those
Mhm.
seizure reactions. So.
What about your your normal aches and pains from football? Do you think it's okay to smoke weed for that?
I mean, I don't know. See, I'm partial on certain things, because I'm like, I look at the effects of ibuprofen.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the effects of those other, the prescribed medication that
Mhm.
they give you, and some of those have they can tear up your kidneys. They can,
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I have to, I'm Switzerland on this one. I'm neutral.
I think that if a doctor
Prescribed
prescribed
it.
it,
Yeah.
I don't think that we can just say, because we know people are used for recreational reasons.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
we're not going to sit here and say that
Right.
we're not aware of that.
Yeah.
Right.
But if we know we've heard certain football players that get up after a game Sunday morning and can barely get out to bed.
Right.
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 So they're using other type of drugs and stuff like that just to kind of cope with their
Right.
day.
Mm-hmm.
So if a doctor say yes, this marijuana is one of those types that
Right.
could help you cope with your day.
Right.
I think that in that realm, I think that it would be. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, man, cause I'm not a believer. Like, I understand everything that y'all saying, but I think it's a lot of players that just like, man, please make this legal,
right.
man.
No, I
Y'all
agree.
make this legal. We winning. We
right.
winning.
That's why
We
we
about
said
to go
that.
smoke. We got we smoking, and then you said get a doctor to subscribe it, man, bro. You know they can get some doctors in a heartbeat to.
But I think that one of the things, and they talk about even with marijuana,
Mhm.
is that because it's starting to become somewhat normal and somewhat legalized,
Yeah.
the impact on how many people want to, a lot of things are getting minimized because
Mhm.
of the legalization of marijuana.
Okay.
So I think that I don't think it's just going to be a rampant of just the whole NFL just going to just be puffing away.
Right.
You know, I really, you know what I'm saying. But so, I mean, you got to put certain things in place. But I believe that if a doctor or if a team doctor says that, you know, Al, you know, this will help you cope with some of your pain. Okay,
Right.
you might not be able to take some of the other, you know, if that's the case, I don't see nothing wrong with it. Yeah, we know.
Let me ask you this: what percentage you think in the NFL is like, man, if they legalize this, we win it. It's time to go smoke, call Snoop. Let's get this party started. What percentage in the NFL is ready, just waiting? If they get this legalized, it's on and popping. What percentage?
Half that smoke. I say about half.
50%?
Yeah, about 50%.
50% of the league?
Of those that smoke, everyone doesn't smoke.
Oh, okay. You're
50%
right.
of the ones in the NFL that smoke.
That's a high percentage, ain't it?
I mean, bro, I know it's people.
And I
just
agree with
waiting.
you. I agree with you.
I agree that there's people waiting to say, you know what, and then you got Chris Long, you know what I'm saying, nice looking, you know, that Chris.
They got
I
a
get
white
it.
guy out in front of it.
I know.
They winning.
I know.
They
man,
couldn't
but-
get a white guy to stand up for Kaepernick,
Yeah.
but they got him for the weed. Come on, man.
And two, that's what I'm saying too. I look at it as this is a money situation
Yeah,
as
absolutely,
well.
absolutely.
So how many of them own stock in those different cannabis companies?
Right.
Like seriously.
Right.
So it's a lot of like you see the surface issue,
Right.
but then it's other things to me, you know, but I'm a conspiracy theorist. But it's other things at play.
Right.
So I mean,
I don't see nothing wrong with it though.
I'm just
are
shocked
they
that
gonna test them? I mean, are they gonna test them? I mean, like if you
I'm-
run out on the field high, like what's
You know,
ain't no.
I don't see
And if it
nothing
mess
wrong
with your
with it.
money-
You know, if it doesn't, if there's nothing scientific that has been proven that marijuana is causing long-term effects, you know, I don't see nothing wrong with. I don't smoke. I
Right.
couldn't. You know, I tried it in college. I can't handle it.
I was about to say I tried it
can't
one
handle
time.
I
And it
can't
did not.
handle
It did not
But
go
my-
well.
You know, but if it's nothing that's saying there's long-term effects from this,
Right.
but there's some of the good of it is helping you cope with pain. The good might outweigh the bad. I mean, we look at it more
Right.
so as, ooh, you shouldn't be doing it. But if legally or scientifically it's saying marijuana does more good, which some say than
Right.
bad, I don't look at it as a bad thing.
I believe you're gonna have some funny stories coming out of this if this happens. You're gonna have a whole bunch of. You think Pac-Man Jones was crazy then? I know he just retired, but you think he was crazy then? Without weed? What are you gonna do with weed?
I don't think he's just one of them type of guys, man.
I'm just saying, man. I just
Hey,
think
let
it
them smoke. Let them smoke.
Man, I'm not with it. If you run in the league, are you going to allow them to do that? If you run in the league
Again, I said in the offseason.
in the off season,
Yeah.
you run in the league, are you going to let them do it?
I mean, the whole thing is if they mess up, they mess up. That's
And then you discipline them accordingly.
yep.
That's a
It's got to
good.
be consequences. It's got to be consequences.
Hey man, I'm not doing it. I'm not about to have no goofies because I just remember what happened when I tried it, and there was some goofy stuff going on.
But NBA players smoke marijuana.
I feel you.
You know, so it's not just NFL is the ones looking at it, but I think all athletes do.
Yeah.
You know, I know some personally that that smoke. I mean,
Yeah.
they smoke during the season. They just have certain ways of getting around drug testing.
Right.
But it's not just the NFL, and it's a lot of them.
I don't know. Call in. How do y'all feel about Chris Long jumping out, talking about he want to destigmatize marijuana? So, hey, I'm getting numbers out. Suburbs 708-445-9922. Indiana 219-933-9922. And Chicago 773-288-9922. And we also playing Stump the Sportsologist.
They ain't calling.
Nobody called in to try to stump him, ask him a question.
Any question
Any-
about basketball, football, or baseball?
Up to 1995.
From 1995 to the present.
Are you watching on Facebook? Are you watching? Why you not
watching? My phone, man.
You could have looked on. There probably might be some questions on the Facebook Live
They
feed.
don't want to call. They hiding.
Well, they
They don't want this smoke, bro. They don't want this smoke.
y'all gonna let the sportsologist talk to y'all like that, man? I might have to ask one just to get the party started.
As long as you know the answer, the criteria is you gotta know the answer to the question. You just can't come up with a question and you don't know the answer to it. You gotta know the answer to the question.
Got you. I'm gonna think of one, man. I'm gonna get this party started, man.
Got a
I'm gonna
little
get this
time.
party started. It got a couple times. All right, we're gonna hear a word from one of our sponsors. The Allen Power Show is brought to you by All My Goodness DBH. That is an all-natural hair and skincare product line that promotes hair growth and healthy, hydrated, moisturized skin. To purchase or for more info, visit www.allmygoodnessdbh.net. Once again, All My Goodness DBH, natural hair and skin product line that promotes hair growth, healthy, hydrated, moisturized skin. I got some of the products, used it on my beard, shines it up. So I got personal experience, some good product. So support the sponsors that support this show. Support the sponsors. Go buy some of the product. www.allmygoodnessdbh.net. Get some of their products. All right. Moving on. Aaron Rodgers had some comments. Quarterback for the Green Bay Packers had some comments about the Game of Thrones ending. I know it's been off for a while now. People got a chance to calm down because everybody was crazy about the ending. Gretchen, I'm gonna come to you first. Do you watch Game of Thrones?
No.
You don't watch Game of Thrones?
Everybody else around me, even my daughter watches it. I don't watch it, but I don't have time.
You busy. You've been busy since the womb. You ain't got time. And you don't watch Game of Thrones either, do you?
No.
I watched I believe the first couple of episodes of the first season. It was okay. I see why people get all crazy about it, but I wasn't into it. But like my wife really was upset. Like I couldn't even talk to her at the end of the episode. She just angry, and I'm like, "What's going on? We still gotta live. We gotta live in this house now. Let's not get crazy." You know what I'm saying? Stuff still got to get done, but it was like she needed some time to debrief. She was on watch, you know, and
She
so
was really.
yeah, she all into it. Like, man, this is a whole thing. Like, Game of Thrones is not a game.
Bro, I'm so glad it's over.
But Aaron Rodgers, he had a cameo, and he said he didn't like the ending to the Game of Thrones. So, but a lot of people is mad about it. Trevor joked. One of my coworkers joked about it. Said, he got pressured to watch it. Now he laughing. He's like, 8 years, y'all. All these years y'all watched, and now y'all mad about the ending. And I'm glad I never watched. So y'all tell me, y'all can call in if y'all got some frustration, some pinned up frustration about the Game of Thrones that you want to get off. You can explain it to us, even though we ain't watching. If you just want to get it out your system, and you're mad about Game of Thrones, call on in and tell us about your how you feel about it. A lot of people was angry to say it was the worst episode ever. 8 years in.
Aren't they supposed to be doing like a petition or something to get it rewritten or something like that?
See how crazy that is?
Yeah, they're trying.
Really?
To, they're trying to get it rewritten.
They're crazy.
Yeah, like
This is like the Beehive. Y'all know how Beyonce got the whole hive. You say something wrong about them, they'll come after
don't
you.
Don't say nothing about Beyonce.
What? Did we hit a soft spot? Are you part of the Beehive?
No, I'm not officially part of the Beehive.
Not officially? Well, but you rocks with Beyonce?
Yeah.
Man, forget Beyonce. No, I'm just
I
playing.
rock with Beyonce.
I mean, she cool. I ain't mad at her.
I appreciate anybody that is smart about the money.
Got you. We got our first phone call calling in. What's your name? Where you from? What's your comment?
This is Mr. Tell the Truth, calling right now from Ursula Middle, East Chicago.
He usually calls when he's not here. We think he's calling from the bathroom, and we hope he don't get fired. What's your comment, brother?
Yeah, I got a couple minutes. I'm in the bathroom. I did want to comment on all the topics. The NBA Finals, I think you was the only one on the panel that predicted Toronto to go, so I give you your props for that. I'm taking Toronto in 7.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
The reason is, I think they're going to try to integrate Durant, and they're going to try to integrate Cousins. It's going to throw off their chemistry. And I think Kawhi going to be the best player in the series, bro. He's about to get healthy. He got 9 days or 8 days to rest. So that's my prediction on that. I definitely think they should allow marijuana in the NFL because it's definitely a lot better than a lot of the other drugs that they taking, like opioid. They got an opioid epidemic.
Right.
I'm a believer in the Bible. When the Bible says, I put the healing for the people in the land, and we know that herb comes from the land.
Ain't it?
What was that last topic y'all just got through talking about?
Game of Thrones, Aaron Rodgers.
I think I was the only one on the panel that watched the Game of Thrones. But I didn't watch it 8 years like everybody else. I binge watched it, but that was the worst ending ever, bro. And it took me a couple days to get
You too? Oh, no,
like
not
your
you
wife,
too.
bro. It threw you off, man, because it was such a good story, bro, and it just left you with I'm gonna say it, blue balls at the end. But
Oh man,
Oh.
you need therapy. You need therapy.
Hey,
no, I'm good. I'm back to normal now.
this,
I gotta get back to work, man. Y'all keep doing. Hey, what? Go ahead.
this is what I need you to do though. Nobody has called in. We playing Stump the Sportsologist. Nobody has asked this brother a sports question. Can you get one up and ask him?
I got a simple one for him because I see he got some gray hair on his head. I want to see.
Get up.
It's a simple one because I couldn't think of nothing deep.
Okay.
Do you remember the team that the New York Knicks lost to when Patrick Ewing tried to finger roll it when he should have dunked it and they sent that team to the final?
I remember that play, but I don't remember the team. Do you got the answer to your question?
Because it was my team. It was the Indiana Pacers. It was my boy Reggie Miller, never giving damage to the Knicks.
You weren't supposed to say it. You weren't supposed to. He didn't give you a chance to answer though.
I knew it was the Indiana Pacers.
No, man, came out kind of slow, brother. Came out kind of slow, man.
Do that. It was only two teams. It was only two teams that could have been. I know it wasn't the Bulls.
Hey, man, you might have to come out with another question, man. He ain't come out quick with it, man.
Charles Smith, Patrick Ewing. Yeah, I know the team.
Give me a couple minutes, so I'll come out with another one and sneak and take another bathroom break.
My man. All right, bro.
All right.
That is Mr. Tell the Truth, one of the normal hosts of the show, calling in from the bathroom. I ain't saying you didn't, but you came out a little slow. You know,
he was still talking. He was still talking because he was like, he went right into the answer before I was able to. Yeah.
Let me ask the people: do y'all think the sportsologist had the question, or do you think that he didn't have it because he came out kind of slow? I know this brother on a regular basis. He's usually quick on his feet with the answers. You know, he was kind of slow. So y'all tell me: did he know the answer, or did he luck out? Because Tell the Truth gave him the answer already. I'm just saying. I don't know. Once again, we're gonna get back to Gretchen Sip is hanging out with the Allen Pal. So we're gonna get back to her and ask her a few questions about what she does, and then man, get that hat out. Get that hat away from me, man. I ask her a couple questions, man. And if y'all want to call in and ask her some business questions, feel free to do it. So I guess my first questions to ask you would be, do you have any tips for anybody who wanted to start a small business?
Well, my first thing that I always tell my clients, and a lot of people don't tell you, but I tell people, hobby your business first.
Say that one more time.
Hobby your business.
Hobby your business.
Hobby your business. In Indiana, you technically have until you make a certain amount of money before you have to claim it on your taxes, right? You have to prove that something's viable. So what I get to do with a lot of my clients is we have sort of the test the spaghetti concept, which is you boil the spaghetti,
Right.
and then traditionally you throw it on the wall. If
Right.
it sticks,
Right.
you roll with
Right.
it. If it slides down, if it doesn't stick,
Needs more.
it needs some more work. So essentially, I tell them always test,
Mm-hmm.
test. And so you can hobby your business up to 3 years, and at least in the state of Indiana, before you have to claim taxes. See if it's a viable product. See if it's a viable service. If it's not, tweak it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What's my other tip? My other tip is be patient with yourself. Be patient. If I must be honest, Friday I was getting ready to shut my business down.
Wow.
Really?
Friday,
Okay.
and then
Came
Herbie
to that
called.
point. It had got to that point almost.
Yes. But I'm going through another growth change. So I'm going through a client change. I'm going through a self-realization change.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole bunch of things happening all at once. And I just came off of a heavy stint. So another thing that I do is I manage people, whether it's artists or brands. So I was actually managing a campaign, a political campaign. And so coming off that political campaign and coming off of event season for me, and you're going nonstop.
Right.
No sleep, team no sleep all day, and then everything stops. And sometimes you miss that adrenaline. And so like even when you're, if you're, heavy into sports or anything like that, you have this adrenaline rush for so long and then you crash.
Right.
And that's essentially what I did.
Okay.
And so just being patient with yourself, being honest with yourself, having a good support system.
Very good
And
advice.
I tell people, not to be funny, your support system can include your family, but don't bank on it. just because you don't want to put those expectations on people. Really get people that understand the process.
That's good. All of that's good. Hobby your business. Hobby was the first tip. Hobby
Don't
your
hire
business.
your family. That's what she said.
That's what she really wanted to say. That's what
Hobby
she
your
really wanted to
business,
say.
and
Yeah.
don't hire your family.
Yeah.
They show up late for work.
Yeah.
They always want some money. Yeah, don't hire your family.
Yeah, that's what she really wanted to say. She been politically correct.
I was being
Yeah. I need you to give it the real on this show.
I dissected it real
Yeah,
quick. I knew
you
exactly what
did.
she was saying.
Did a good job.
She owned her own business, so I can say it. She can, let her. She did it. That's what we here for.
So look, I know you super busy, but if somebody would like to get in contact with you, how can they do that? If they want to work with you, or if they just need some tips, how could they reach you?
Definitely you can contact. We have a Facebook page, the Stage Small Business Incubator and Co-working Space. You can also call my business line at 219-237-4252. That's 219-237-4252. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook. I tell everybody to reach out to me on Facebook just because that's the easiest. I also am a social media manager, so I manage various accounts. So I'm always on social media. So that's what we're doing. My assistant is doing right now.
Gretchen Sip all over social media. If you need some help,
All over everywhere.
all over everywhere. Look her up.
Team no
Tell
sleep.
them.
Team no sleep.
Tell them Google me.
Hey, team no sleep.
Yeah, Google me. That's what you want to say. We gonna say it for her. But that's Gretchen Sip hanging out with the Allen Pals.
Hey.
So before we get up, we got a few more topics before we get on up out of here. We got a few more minutes. Serena Williams in the news again. She just won her match, but that wasn't the storyline.
Right.
The storyline was
That's what makes me angry.
her outfit.
You want to see me get upset?
Yeah, this got going right here.
Yeah. Arms started going. The neck started going. The head started
Tell
going.
us how you really feel.
I have a problem when instead of crediting the woman on winning the game, she is a athlete. Instead of crediting her on that, you worried about what she wearing. But you know what? That's good. That's good. And that's what, I tell all my clients, bad publicity is still publicity.
Yeah.
It's the way you spin it. It's the way you rock it.
Right.
So I hope she said all of the
what she had on.
Absolutely. But she spoke. She wore affirmations.
Right.
You mad at her for that? Like, seriously?
Yeah.
I remember they made a big deal about the old outfit she had, the cat suit, and she was like, it was all the Black Panther and all of that thing, and my question is, the outfit that I just seen this time, I don't see what the fuss was about,
Right.
but the other outfit, okay, it was kind of tight. I know the guys probably like looking at it or whatever, but I should have seen Sportsology's face. But is her outfits? Let's go back to the Black Panther outfit. Being unbiased in the situation, was that too much? Was that too much what she was doing?
No, not at all. Understanding the sport she plays in, the racial, what I'm saying, her being one of few black women that play and the success that she's had. We're talking about probably the all-time greatest, tennis player.
Right.
From Compton, California.
Right.
Very in touch with her ethnicity.
Absolutely.
So with the Black Panther outfit, also her promoting and marketing her own clothing line.
Hello.
That this is what she does.
Right.
But she's probably one of the first to have done this. Normally you see women, she's got Nike on board. That's who sponsors her. But normally you see tennis players that they wear somewhat similar things. Where she's using her platform to market her own brand.
Absolutely.
And her being one of maybe 2 or 3% black women that's made that type of success playing tennis. She's going to get scrutinized. She plays in a white dominant sport, and she's doing something that they haven't seen before. So that's where I think some of the scrutiny comes from.
Let me give you the quote from French Tennis Federation President Bernard Guidicelli, however you pronounce his name. Quote, "One must respect the game and the place after one." And so I guess my question, he said, respect the game and the place after. And he made that comment after one of her previous outfits, I think the cat suit.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so my question is, was that outfit disrespecting the game or the place?
No.
No. And
I understand she built a little differently than those other tennis players.
Right. But in
That's-
the cat suit, she wore it right after. She had the baby not too long before then, and she needed compression wear.
Right.
I mean, how many? First of all, how many women have y'all seen who wear the what is it, the body shapers?
Yeah.
Right.
And those things where they can hardly breathe.
Waist trainers.
Right. Waist trainers,
right.
right,
They can
right.
hardly.
Yeah.
So I mean that, but then also when you have a baby, especially if you have a cesarean or anything like that, they give you compression wear to keep your body together because
As it
all
heals.
of that
As
right.
it heals.
That's extra weight. It's it's just you're dealing with a lot.
Right.
But also I honestly believe like you and I went to majority white school majority of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So we were always my sister and I were always criticized. It was maybe 10 of us in a school of about 500. So if we had the new gym shoes, I never forget my dad had bought me those pump up shoes.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to put me out of school for those pump ups.
Wow.
So it was just it's sometimes it is just she's the first one to do it, and they mad because they didn't think of it first. To be honest, but that's my opinion.
She's using her platform. If she
absolutely.
wasn't winning,
Right.
if she was the 180th ranked
Right.
player in tennis,
They wouldn't be
we wouldn't
saying
even talk
that.
about because it's her.
That's
and
a good point.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's all I ask is after they say what they say, just put, but she winning though.
Yeah, right.
But she winning though.
Take your button, taking numbers.
Right.
That's what she
Right.
doing.
So she just won her match, but they was talking about something else. Well, we're gonna get into my segment, which is called The Day in the Life of Al, because we got a few more minutes, and I'm going to be real quick with it, but we're going to get into my segment, A Day in the Life of Al. You ever wonder what happened in A Day in the Life of Al? So in this episode of A Day in the Life of Al, if y'all been paying attention to the show, we had one of my co-hosts, or one of the honorary Allen pals, J Camp, had an event called Tipsy Talks, and we had he talked about relationships. And so in this episode, I just want to talk about a specific topic that we talked about. So we was talking on a panel about relationships, and one of the panelists, her name is Kidden Gray, I believe, but she made a comment about she said she gave a mirror to her son. Said, "Do you like what you see in the mirror?" She said, if you like what you see in the mirror, then you have to marry this and produce this type of child. Meaning, she's all about black only.
Mm-hmm.
Black, marrying black. Don't you, if you marry
Cross those
or
racial
cross
lines.
over, we're going to have a problem.
Okay.
And of course, I didn't agree with that. I'm like, hey, love
Who you
conquers
love.
all.
Right,
You
right.
know.
Marry who you love.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, Jesus is for the Jews and the Gentiles. He for everybody. So, But my question is, are you okay if your child marries outside the race?
You didn't tell me you was going to ask these questions.
Right.
But-
Wait a minute.
Hold on, we gotta list
This
the
what
questions,
happens
bruh.
in the day in the life of Al.
Bruh, you got to prepare me for questions like
What?
that, man. Okay, no, I don't. I wouldn't have a problem. If my son, I got 2 kids, and if my son decided to marry outside the race, I would not have a problem with that at all. We would have a talk though, making sure. You know what I'm saying? Like so, and
They know what he
because
getting
it-
into,
because there's other elements to this.
Right. True.
It's not. It might not even be the woman that he's dating or wanting to marry. It could be
Right.
her family and where their upbringing
True.
from. So
Right.
True.
those are some of the things. Then also when you go out into society, how that
Right.
could be perceived and looked at. So
Right.
those are the things. Those are the things that I would definitely make him aware of.
Got you.
But no, if you
fair.
happy, if you love who you love,
Right. Right. She wasn't playing. She was very
Oh,
adamant.
she working and making some money. You know what I'm saying? God bless you, son. Go ahead.
Right. Gretchen, thoughts? Quick. Real quick.
I wouldn't have a problem with it, but we would have to talk.
Yeah.
We would
Yeah.
have to seriously talk. We would have to. I mean, and not just because hey, you love who you love.
Yeah.
As long as they make you a better person and help you reach your destiny, then I'm
Right.
happy with that.
Amen.
But as long as
Right.
they don't change the person you
Man,
are.
I got a son, man. You want to marry a white? Do your thing, brother.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Yeah. If you love her, man, long as she, if she good for you and,
And she was like, "You better marry black." It was like,
see.
She wasn't playing.
This
I got
20,
family members like that.
This
I got family
2019.
Yeah, she wasn't playing around. But that was
All
just
black
quick
ain't good. I tell you that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
facts. Facts.
You know.
But my black is good. Just
Mine
put
too.
that out
Mine
there.
too.
Mine is good.
Hey,
Yeah,
your wife's
'cause-
listening.
Yeah, they be like, what do you mean right there? My black is good. My black is great. Great. Let's put that out there.
Yeah.
All right, but that was
Still
the day in
gotta
the
go
life
home,
of
bro.
Val. Real quick, couple minutes. RJ Hampton skipping the basketball, college. He's skipping college basketball to play overseas. Is this going to be a problem for the NCAA?
No.
No? And why you say that?
Because there's only a handful. It's a small percentage that can
That does
that's able to, even the ones that the one and dones out of the hundreds and hundreds of college players, there's only a handful that can actually make that jump to go actually get paid right out of high school to make to play professional basketball. So I don't think that it will impact.
Gotcha. Real quick.
Nope.
No. No. Okay, gotcha. All right, now we're gonna. We had a real quick Stanley Cup Final. St. Louis Blues are playing the Boston Bruins. Just for the hockey fans, just want to let y'all know we acknowledging hockey around here. But we're gonna get into my last segment, which is come to church with me, where I tell you what I learned from church service. I had a couple of things, but we only got a minute or so, so I'm gonna go with the quickest version. So he talked about 1 Corinthians 3:1. And I'm going to read it to you and then I'm explaining. But for right now, friends, I'm completely frustrated by your unspiritual dealings with each other and with God. You're acting like infants in relation to Christ, capable of nothing much more than nursing at the breast. Well then, I'll nurse you since you don't seem capable of anything more, as long as you grab for what makes you feel good or makes you look important. Are you really much different than a babe at the breast? Content only when everything's going your way. When one says, I'm on Paul's side, and another says, I'm for Apollos, aren't you being totally infantile? Basically, he's talking about bickering in church. If we all for Christ, you shouldn't be clicking up in churches. And I believe churches have this problem a lot. If a situation going on in the church, they'll say, I'm on this side or I'm on that side. We ain't got time for that. We all for Christ. So that's it. 1 Corinthians 3:1, getting your word. And the segment the message was called "Grow Up." So grow up. So look, this is the Allen Powell Show. We'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all for tuning in. We out of this thing.
Mixed up music, ENT.